Welcome to Empowered Wellness with Sheetal. I'm very grateful that you're joining me today for our guided meditation, coming together to raise the vibe of ourselves, our communities, and our world. So, for today's meditation, I'd like to focus on the concept of receiving. So many of us, I find, are really good givers. We're really good at giving. We're very happy to share our time, our resources, our money, our effort to help others. And especially in the last few months, it's been wonderful to see all the giving and all the sharing and help to each other that we've been witnessing and experiencing. So it's certainly a wonderful thing. However, especially when we're at a time in our lives when we might need to give a lot more, we may find ourselves depleted and exhausted from all that giving. And so we've all heard of the phrase that we need to fill our own cup up first before we continue to give so that we have the capacity to continue to give freely. But I ask you, how many of us really do that? How many of us completely fill our cup up before we continue to give of ourselves? I mean, we may fill our cup up a little bit. We may do some things to give ourselves a boost, and maybe we fill our cup halfway or partially. But be honest with yourself. How many of us truly fill our cup up all the way, do it regularly each and every day so that we have the capacity to give wholeheartedly, genuinely, and freely without feeling exhausted or depleted? Now, I include myself in this category because that's certainly something I've had to work on through the years. And I'm happy to say I'm getting better at it, but it still requires paying attention and making sure that I do give myself the time that's needed and the practices that are needed to fill up my cup completely. So, in today's meditation, I'd like to take us inward to notice our resistance to receiving. And what I mean by resistance is anything that feels like a block, anything that feels unopen or non expansive. And that can take the form, our resistance can take many different forms. It can take the form of physical tension, it can take the form of pain, it can take the form of more subtle sensations and feelings like numbness or heaviness somewhere in the body, especially the heart space. It can also take the form of limited beliefs and limiting thoughts. And all of these things basically take up space in our being. So think of it this way: if you have a container that has some sort of things in it, I mean, it could just be dust, it could be unwanted material that's collected, and we're trying to fill this container with something we want. Well, technically, the container is not going to be completely full. It's not going to have that fullness of whatever it is we want to put in it while there's other stuff in it. It's going to be contaminated. It's going to be blocked. The container will be blocked from fully receiving what we want to put in it. And so it's similar when we think of our bodies that way. It's a similar experience where these tensions we experience, these sensations we experience, the limiting beliefs we might have, all of those things take up space in our being that prevent us from filling ourselves with what we need, that prevent our wholeness, our fullness, and our capacity to feel full so that we may more easily give without being depleted or exhausted afterwards. So, what we'll do today in our meditation is I'll guide you into the body and we'll take notice of any resistance. And then we'll work with our breath, we'll work with intention and with languaging to soften, release, um, and relax that resistance in order to create the space within to then receive more of what we need, whether it be healing, whether it be simply love, hope, courage, all of those qualities of spirit, all of those qualities of source that we can bring in and connect to, which really is already there, but that we might need to reconnect to and expand into our bodies so that we feel whole again, we feel full again, we feel vibrant again, and we're ready to give again. So, with that, let's get settled and get started on our meditation, focusing on our resistance to our receiving and then releasing that resistance so that we may be full and ready to give. So, as always, let's get started in our meditation by settling into our seat. So, whether you're sitting in a chair or on the floor, we know that we want to ground through our lower body. So, feel your feet gently pressed against the floor. If you're sitting on a chair with those legs uncrossed, and if you're sitting on the floor, allow the legs, the feet to sink into the floor or into your support, whatever you're sitting on. And let's close our eyes, bringing awareness inward, feeling the lower body settling downward. Feeling our sit bones settling into our seat. And just imagining that the lower body is a foundation upon which our upper body gently lifts. And maybe you make that gentle intention, gentle effort to lift that spine up, lengthen it, perhaps relaxing the shoulders with some movement if that feels necessary. Same thing with the neck or the head. Whatever you need to do to find ease in the upper body. Maybe taking a few big breaths in and out with some sounding on the exhale. Just to allow yourself to arrive right here, right now. And once the physical body feels settled and supported, I invite you to take the awareness inward. And first, just notice your breathing. Once again, noticing the flow of breath and perhaps making some gentle effort to smooth out that breath. Slow it down. Find your rhythm of breathing. And then I'll invite you to bring your awareness up to the crown of your head, and we'll begin with a body scan, starting at the crown of the head. And we'll slowly make our way down into the face, the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw. And as you're scanning your way downward through the head, across the face, notice if you feel any resistance. Again, that could come in the form of some tension, some holding, engagement that's unnecessary. Or maybe you notice some feelings or emotions or sensations. Maybe some thoughts arise that don't feel expansive, open, inclusive. Whatever you're observing as you begin to scan downward through the body, moving through the neck, taking your time to scan downward. There's no hurry here. Let's really focus on each part of the body, noticing if it feels relaxed, soft, open, loose, or whether it feels resistant in some way. And when and if you identify resistance, however it may show up for you, I invite you to pause there, bringing your awareness to that resistance, to that area of your body, and taking 2 to 3 big, full, smooth, slow breaths. Imagining breathing right into that resistance. And I invite you to also silently affirm to yourself words such as ease. I breathe ease into the resistance, or soften, or release, or relax. Just notice which words, what languaging helps to soothe the resistance, helps to soften, to relax any resistance you may be noticing. So with each deep breath, offer those words and feel the words you offer. Feel the softening as you say it. Feel the soothing. Feel the release. And perhaps you add one more layer, and that's imagery, visualizing the actual softening of that resistance, the dissipation, the release. As you breathe into it, as you imagine it, as you speak to it, and then continue to scan downward through the body, the chest, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the fingers. I especially invite you to rest at your heart space, noticing any resistance in that area. Once again, breathing into any resistance wherever you may feel it. Speaking to the resistance with words of affirmation to soften, to release, to relax, to let go, to surrender, and feeling those words as you speak them, as you breathe those words into your resistance. Continuing to scan into the abdomen, softening resistance through the core of your being, letting go, breathing ease into the hips, the pelvis, as you notice any blocks, any resistance to your breath, to the feeling of openness, space. Continuing to scan through the hips, the gluteal muscles, down into the thighs. Breathing into whatever resistance you may notice. Often in the pelvic region, we notice emotions that might be resistant to our fullness, our wholeness, our capacity to give without depletion. Breathing into any and all of that resistance, surrendering it, softening it, releasing it, seeing it through your imagery, feeling it in your body as you continue to move through the legs, the knees, into the feet, into the toes, draining your body of your resistance. As you take a few more breaths into the body, into any resistance you may notice still, observe if that surrender, that softening, that soothing of some of your resistance has caused you to feel more open, has caused you to create more spaciousness within, has increased your capacity. And now let's shift our focus to fill our cups, to fill our being to fill that increased capacity that we've created with the light of Source, with the light of Spirit, the light of universe, the light of God, the light of divinity and divine intelligence. So I invite you now to imagine that light coming into your body, once again, starting at the crown of your head, bringing your awareness to the crown of your head. And now, as you scan your body downward, I invite you to imagine yourself, your being, your vessel being filled with that light of Source. And perhaps that light of Source takes the form of healing, or takes the form of love, compassion, strength, courage. Whatever feels right to you, whatever form of Source you feel you need to fill your cup right now. And again, you might choose to visualize and use imagery to see yourself being filled with the light of Source, filling you up from the forehead, through the face, the cheeks, the neck. That beautiful energy, that beautiful vibration filling you up, filling those spaces that we've created, those new spaces, filling into your being that is more spacious, more open to receiving. Feel yourself receive wholeheartedly, fully, with gratitude. Allow yourself to really appreciate and savor the receiving as you fill your being with that light of Source, moving down and filling your heart space completely, almost to the extent that you might feel like you're bursting. You feel such fullness as that light of Source fills you further down into your core, into your pelvis, your seat, filling the arms all the way down into the fingertips, filling your legs fully and completely, all the way down into those toes, feeling the fullness of Source within you, feeling your heightened capacity to give now from this place of fullness, because you've allowed yourself to receive. You've allowed yourself to be open to the receiving that is there for you in every moment, whenever you need it. And in this moment of receiving, of feeling greater fullness, of feeling your capacity to be full, to be whole, I invite you to set an intention that gives you permission to receive all that you need whenever you need it. To give yourself permission to pause and fill your cup completely, not just a little bit, not just halfway, but fully. Making that full and complete connection to Source whenever you need to, as often as you need to, so that you feel this fullness on a regular basis. So let's just take these next several moments to just bask in our fullness, to savor it, to enjoy the feeling of receiving, to enjoy the expansion of our being as we've allowed ourselves to receive. to enjoy the feeling of connection to Source, to Spirit, to Divine. I invite you now to gently bring your hands to your heart space. Right hand on your heart space, left hand over your right hand. Gently landing your hands at your heart space. And let's take 3 big, full breaths in. And on the exhale, send out whatever intention you want to give to the world. So, nice big breath in. Two more at your own pace. Gently bowing your head to your own heart and noticing how it felt to give, to send from that place of fullness. I honor the place in you in which the universe dwells. I honor that place in you which is of love, light, peace, and joy. And when you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. I hope you feel your fullness after this meditation. I hope you feel how wonderful it is to receive and how you can give yourself permission. You can allow yourself the time, the practices, whatever it is you need to receive, whether it be a meditation like this, or whether it be simply taking a walk in nature, whether it be taking a nap, taking a yoga class, doing an exercise routine, whatever it is. Allow yourself to receive so that you can feel your fullness on a regular basis. You can feel connected to the source within, the spirit within. And when we feel that way, when we feel that fullness, that wholeness that is ours, we can so beautifully give wholeheartedly, genuinely, without depletion, without exhaustion. And we can keep giving as long as we keep filling our cup. So here's to filling your cup. I encourage you to do it each and every day, maybe more than once a day. And until next time, be well.